Welcome back to your favorite comedy finance channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm with the one and only Maker Lee, founder of Jesus Coin. How's it going, man?
It is going great. I'm blowing this up, sharing on my Twitter. So I'm pumped, man. Let's get things going.
So I saw the market cap 2x within about 2 days.
Yeah.
Now, I think the bottom I saw was about 9 or 10 million market cap. We're currently just under 20 million market cap, 18.19 million.
Mm-hmm.
The big say on this, I believe, is the liquidity pool. And the reason why is, if you take a look at other tokens like Pepe, MOG, Turbo, a lot of these other coins do not have this much liquidity.
Nope.
And, even if you're just buying coins on an exchange, there's no guarantee of liquidity like a DEX could prove when it comes down to actual money.
Yep.
So this is something that I think a lot of people need to pay attention to when comparing different meme coins, because a lot of coins have high market cap, no liquidity. This has a very, very low market cap, high ass liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your take on, let's say the chart and the infrastructure of the token itself?
Mm-hmm.
And let's get into the whole testimonies after that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. In general, man, I wish I could say that this was planned and I'm a genius dev and that all of this was like just spreadsheets and mathematics and my quant over in Asia. Not a chance. Because I don't understand, other than like the good Lord above having his hand on this project, I don't understand how the liquidity pool was able to get to the health that it is, the ratio that it is, the like just massive stability that it is. I was working over I'm working on a thread right now to post on Twitter. Will probably come out in a couple days. And the main thing that I'm looking at is liquidity pool at the highs and the lows, specifically for Jesus Coin, to kind of compare like what is happening and why am I seeing that, we'll have dumps, but liquidity pool goes up. And normally you have like, token dumps 90%, liquidity pool dumps 90%. Like that's just how things happen. But what we're seeing, which is this like weird disconnect between what's very common in crypto, in meme coins especially, but in overall in crypto, is that there's like, I could see a point where the fees continue to add up so exponentially that this could theoretically, I haven't done the math yet, but this could literally be the most liquid meme coin that exists on the entire market, which means it's like it's basically like infinity, like the floor of support. And that's why I've gone on record to say that it's unruggable, is because it's like, we've had waves. The more waves you have, it basically proves that there's going to be more waves in the future. The bull market's not done yet. This isn't the last bull market. All of these things lead to like, I'm seeing the liquidity pool just creep up, where, at our last all-time highs, it had just touched 3 million market cap. And this was at like 85, 87 million market cap at 3 million. At our lows, like you were saying, around 9, 10 million, we were just under 2 million. So it's like how the liquidity pool is better down here than it was at the highs in terms of size. And so that, like, I'm blowing my own mind. And again, I wish I had done it on purpose. Like I'm a super genius. But I didn't. And I'm sharing this with people as I discover it, because it's like, yeah, you could have a bag in a meme coin that's 6 or 7 figures. Awesome. But if the liquidity pool is only 300K, boy, it's like hot potato between which whale is going to sell first.
If you take a look at Pepe's market, that is one of the main things. You have a bunch of double-digit millionaires that cannot pull that liquidity. They can only pull out a little bit at a time. And that's only granted that more cash inflow comes into the marketplace. And with memes, it's an attention-based economy usually. But I think that's what Jesus has over everything else. This is more of a faith-based economy. It's what's pulled me into it several times. I rode with you guys the first wave, the second wave, and now this is the third crusade. So I'm definitely here for that. And again, like a lot of people think like, what creates a token's legitimacy is its ability to stay up. And it's like, that's not the way tokens work. You're going to have your ups and your downs.
Yep.
But after consolidation or after enough distribution, the market does find its way to a higher position, as long as that community continues to work hard, or as long as that community stays relevant or together. And you know, Jesus does bring that to this token, and I do think that it's one of the most, well, I think it's the most legit Jesus token there is.
Yeah,
there's
I
been
agree.
a lot of different tokens that have tried to do this, and they didn't have the ability to do it. So it's very different.
Yeah,
I
totally
saw
agree.
what's the liquidity pool, let's say on Pepe.
I mean, I can tell you exactly. I was looking at this today.
Look at that.
The liquidity pool. I want to share an image. Can I DM you an image and then you pull it up? Is that possible?
I probably know, like, I'm sure I probably can, but I don't know how.
Okay.
I haven't done this long enough to know how to do that.
So Pepe is interesting because obviously the majority of the liquidity is on centralized exchanges. Their DEX right now is just under 8. Wait, I'm making sure I see this correctly. Hang on, guys. I know how to read. Is just under 10 million, I think, 8 million. No, I have to pull it up. My image is all blurry.
It's like it's in the billions for market cap.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the market cap's like 4 billion.
Yeah, so when you take a look at that type of price, let's say, you know, the market cap is relevant to the price.
Exactly.
So when you're taking a look at the price, that's going to dictate how much liquidity could be extracted per sale.
Exactly.
So for the price to be that high,
50 million.
Yeah, so for the liquidity to be that low,
mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of these guys are never going to be able to get all that money out without crashing the market, you know.
Yeah.
And let's say even if they did pull out enough, at the same time, it's still not going to, you know, it'll affect it'll affect more of their bag. So for instance, let's say they pull out $100 grand or $200 grand or $300 grand, that $500 or $400 grand that they do pull out in cash is going to affect the market so much that it might affect their bag by millions.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's the catch-22 with a lot of those top holders, which there aren't really a lot, and many of them are outsiders. Or I'm sorry, insiders. With Jesus coin, the distribution's way more fair. It's never been more fair than this third cycle around. And again, like when you're taking a look and you're shopping for ROI, you know, and granted, you know, ROI is never promised in the crypto market. We go to zero by tonight. At any point. Keep in mind, it's not financial advice. Okay. So you have to make sure you have to make your own bets. I'm going to make mine. I did make a powerful bet on Jesus because Jesus is Lord. Okay. Let's not forget that. But at the end of the day, you know, when I'm looking at coins, I'm looking for ROI. And, you know, ROI does come and go in cycles. Sometimes you get a top, sometimes you get a bottom, but you have to know when to buy, when to sell. And, you know, at different points in the cycle, whether it be the token or the macro crypto market, you got to make that decision for yourself. Okay. You can't wait for everybody to make that decision for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at Jesus coin. I saw you guys last Sunday doing a service, and I wasn't interested in Jesus coin at this time. I wasn't interested in meme coins at this time at all. But I saw you guys having a Sunday service. I popped in and I'm like listening to you, and I remember you saying an awesome statement about politics.
Yeah.
And between Biden or Trump or the left or the right. And one awesome thing that you said was, you know, we don't look left, we don't look right, we look towards the sky. We look up for Jesus, you know, we look up towards God. And I thought that was awesome. And I'm like, well, how is Jesus doing right now? This is an awesome spaces. Let me take a look. And I remember seeing it was, I think, only 60 grand at the time to buy 1 trillion tokens. And I was the distribution. I was like, oh my God, this is very cheap. I looked at the market cap. It was like 8 or 10 million market cap. I was like, this looks good. This looks fun. And I was like, man, I think I'm ready for the third crusade. And I remember I was talking to you guys. I was like, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything, but I'm looking. I'm looking. So here we are, you know, and look, everything to me is about opportunity. A lot of, you know, I catch a lot of heat. A lot of people don't like me for chasing opportunity, but unfortunately those people are plebs. So, you know, the way I see things is when you see an opportunity to make money, or you see an opportunity, or you see a low, or you see a bottom, you know, you got to take advantage of that, especially if it's a good community, especially if it's a good project. And especially if you have that low an MC with that much liquidity,
yeah,
backing the token. So, I saw a lot of different things there that I liked from an infrastructure standpoint. But what led me to take a look at that chart was you. You actually, providing, just some sort of testimony or just some sort of reminder that God's here for us.
Yeah.
That to me is always what brings my attention over, just to take a look.
Yeah.
And this particular time happens to be the perfect opportunity for a lot of different people to ride this third wave.
Yeah.
Remember the first wave, when I remember we caught you guys was under 500 holders. Now you guys have almost 20,000 holders. So it's like 16 or something like that.
Yeah. Plus Soul, we're at 17. Yep.
Yeah. So, that to me was like, well, this is a perfect time for me to get in. And also a lot of people, we told them about Jesus that first cycle, they faded and then they missed. And they said, oh, man, that was crazy, because it's Jesus. We should have, I wish I could have got in. Well, we reminded them again for that second wave. Oh, well, I wish I would have got in. Well, this is your third chance to be part of the third crusade.
Yes.
And I think that's what we should call that from now on. For every Jesus cycle that happens in this token, it's going to be a crusade. So we got the first, second, this is the third crusade.
Yes. I love it. It's fun. It's wild. The amount of like the amount of people who fade it, where you see people ape into just absolute garbage, and then get wrecked, and then don't learn their lesson, and then do it again. And that's what's just so interesting to me, where it's like, I know people see this. I know people see the chart. They see it on trending. They see it like tweets trending. They see it pop up on like the bubble bot, whatever. So people are aware. And I think that just, I don't know, it goes to show certain maybe motivations people have within the space. And if there's not necessarily a benefit for themselves personally, where it's like maybe a KOL compensation or whatever that may be, they just are like, I'm not even going to talk about it. And it's like, you literally just promoted a crap pump and dump.
Yeah.
And so that just frustrates me, but it's like, what are you going to do? I think crypto is such a good example of like, just overall life and humanity, just like amped up to the extreme, where it's like on the day to day, like throughout our IRL life, you have greedy people and selfish people and all these things. But in crypto, it's literally like amped up to 1,000, and we just get every maximum character trait that exists. And that's why we're here.
Polarization for sure. There is a lot of polarization. What's very sad about sometimes Maker, I envy your lifestyle. Because, I'll be really honest. Maker is the polar opposite of me. He's very, universal and patient. I'm like not that. So, and the thing is like, I wish I had more. I wish I had your patience. Really. I just think that a lot of people don't understand token cycles. You have crypto cycles in general, but you also have token cycles too.
Yeah.
And you can kind of get an idea of the trajectory of particular coins. Beam coins is definitely like wave driven, right now, like we have a lot of people complaining about like some of the utility tokens out there, but it's like, why would you complain about utility tokens if you kind of go through those side trends along with Bitcoin and ETH?
Yep.
And I already knew off the bat, every summer people get bored or they're going on vacation, and you get a lot of people just wanting to have fun, have their allocation and utility coins and stuff like that. But they're so bored. They're like, well, I got cabin fever. I want to go play with meme coins, but they wreck themselves in the worst coins. Solana is a complete mess right now. I think this is probably the best thing on there for now. I think the liquidity pool is still a little bit low. It's about 30.
It's low. Yeah.
It's to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I still think we're going to experience an ETH summer because, the problem is like a lot of people are getting turned off from Solana because of all the rugs from the celebrities and all that stuff. But I do think that's why a lot of people are heading over back to ETH. We're getting a very big rush in ETH. So I think we'll have a lot of opportunity there. And I feel like there's a lot more money in ETH. I really do. There's definitely a lot more money. Both ecosystems, I think, will do good in the longer in the grand scheme of things. But with ETH having its ETF and you have some sort of regulatory clarity, I think a lot of people are looking more into it. Now, a lot of people from the institutional side, they're only in Bitcoin, but let's say when ETFs do activate for ETH, I don't think people are going to say, well, let me add new money to ETH. I think what a lot of them are going to do is they're going to cut their Bitcoin in half, or they're going to cut their Bitcoin holdings in some sort of fashion and then bet on 2 horses instead of 1. But that's going to add a lot more money into ETH. Now, because of this, that's going to be coming up for how I feel like ETH is going to go several fold higher. Your pool is backed by was $2.26 million in liquidity. People forget that because ETH is like this token is backed by ETH, you're going to gain a lot of that buying power in the background of this token. So even though ETH is, I think the last time I checked was about $3,400, let's say it blasts off at some point as we get towards Q4, we see a blast off moment of it doing 2x or 3x. That's 2-3x your liquidity pool.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Your liquidity pool will go from $2 million to potentially $4 or $6 million.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect the price point too. So it's not only people buying the token that's going to affect the price, but it's the growth rate that's going to be happening to ETH. And ETH is the closest thing to an ETF we got besides Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So, let's say if Solana ever does get an ETF, I'm sure a lot of these layer ones will at some point, maybe. But ETH is next in line. And, sometimes like cycles, it's about timing, and the timing right now is for ETH.
Yeah.
You got a lot of ETH. So
yes, there is a lot of ETH. I fully agree. I think obviously like there were certain narratives popping up specifically on Solana that like the mania, we almost had a mini cycle, with the fear, doubt, uncertainty, whatever. That famous chart, we almost had that essentially play out in real time on Solana with a lot of these projects. And I fully agree. There's way more money in ETH because it's like older. It's like the older, boring money. And I know this in firsthand working with the DeFi protocol, where it was like, we see these old wallets come in and these users come through and it's like, oh my gosh, dude had $100 million like staked on Lido or something. And you're like, you would never see that on Solana. That type of, obviously on a small institutional level, sure, if these like VCs who are doing their thing.
Sometimes I think these metas are manipulated marketing campaigns because a lot of the people on Twitter, see, crypto Twitter is fucking like AIDS. Seriously, it is. It's like cancer. And a lot of these accounts that are larger, they're either bought out by the same people or they're bought out, circulated between the same users. So a lot of the marketing campaigns that are done, they could be automated or they could be fake accounts or fake followers or botted out spaces, botted out engagement, a lot of those different things. And it can make people feel like, oh, wow, the meta is Solana. But if you ask anybody that tried to launch on like Base or Solana, they had shitty marketplaces. They didn't have the traffic that was being propagated to them. So a lot of the traffic that I saw, honestly, I feel was bigger money by only a select few people on certain systems or certain marketplaces. But I don't think it was audience numbers. I don't think it was real humans. I think it was maybe like a handful of thousands of people, which is not a lot. But you had like maybe 100 people that were pushing up coins to high amounts, but they bought the bottom or they bought like at launch or whatever, to make it look like you had a lot of scalability. But what happens at the very end of these extravagant push-ups, they go to zero pretty hard, or they cut quite a bit. And it's not to say that, not like all of them are like, let's say, scams or whatever, but how many times do some of these most popular meta coins that come out on these different ecosystems, you don't really get to hear a lot about the winners in those ecosystems, like not really a lot of people. But with ETH and a lot of these different meme coins, I always get people that are like, yeah, I got to win here. You get to meet winners, but a lot of these other coins, you don't really get to meet the winners. You only get to hear about maybe the insiders winning. So I do think that Jesus provides more of a fair opportunity for everybody to win, because the first and second cycle that I experienced, not only did I win, but I saw a lot of other people win in the token. So, you
Yeah.
know, and I think it has a lot to do with that distribution ratio. You have 80% of the tokens burned, which is still collecting LP each purchase. So, you know, for only 20% to be shared amongst the holders, which isn't a lot yet. It's only 60,000, which is still relatively small. I mean, imagine 100 or 200,000. You know, there's going to be a lot more earnings and a lot more winning for those 20% of holders versus, you know, usually like marketplaces, they have 100% circulation.
Yeah.
They have, maybe they have like a 30% or like a 70 or whatever. But this is the first time where you have like a fully uneven ratio where it's like 80% gone. Percent is shared. So that 20% that 20% of money that could be extracted will be shared with those holders that are participating in that. So that's a large pot. 80% pot of money for only 20% of the holders. You got to think about it like that.
Yeah, because normally it's reversed.
Quite a pool.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can look at literally if you go through Deck Screener, you compare liquidity. You compare liquidity for Solana coins versus liquidity for ETH coins. And it's like, what is even happening? You'll have a coin at 400 million market cap with 1 million liquidity on Solana. And it's like, who did this? So I agree in terms of like, there is a consistency of an illiquidity on Solana, which a lot of people get. I think the little guy gets wrecked the most. I think there's a couple, like you said, there's a couple people who win. And they got in early and then they feel like they're a god tier trader because like a buddy who's in the cabal or whatever told them. And then there's a lot of people get wrecked. I mean, it's like, even I'll like, you know, for fun, play around with some stuff. And it's like, oh, great, this looks cool. And then all of a sudden, like Dev owns 60% and rugs the whole thing. And it's like, bro, what? I thought this was supposed to be fun. I'm tired of that. That was why I launched the project to begin with. And that's why I stay in the space too. Cause it's like, obviously I think that there are people who I've had enough messages who are basically like, bro, like, honestly, you can bounce. Like, if you want to be done, go for it. Like, I've had these messages, people telling me, because one, they know the project is not about me, it's about Jesus. Two, they know that like the liquidity is stacked, the distribution is stacked. I don't have like an 80% bag to dump on people, etc. But it took time, I guess, to get to that. But even then, it's like, I am basically in this for the long haul because I know, like, I love crypto. I'm in crypto for a reason. And if Jesus coin can be like the light of basically like, here's a project that's unruggable. You guys
have done charity as well.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You've done a lot of different charity works, and that's always awesome. You're even open to working with other religious projects as well, which is cool, which is different. Usually, you know, if two religious projects are, you know, you're going to bicker at each other, you know, but for some reason, you guys happen to get along with. See, this is what I'm saying. You get along with everybody. You're just so universal.
I know. I mean, it's Jesus, bro. It's like you read the Bible. It's like Jesus.
Apostle. We don't know, but he might be the 13th disciple. We don't know.
Yeah, Jesus hung with everybody. That's my thing, and that's why I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna do me. You know what I mean? When it comes to crypto, when it comes to politics, I'm just gonna do me, which is I'm just gonna love on people.
Yeah. No, I get it. You know, I see that again. You know, this is a big up for you, man. Like, kill them with kindness. You know, I want to kill people things. You know, but
yeah.
Like, see what I'm saying? It's like yin and yang. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, different.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about, you know, so one of Maker's mission was to make a fair coin, and that's definitely what he did. But you know, what's your own personal testimony of God for you and Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
And let's go into, I saw a pretty good comment earlier. They want to know what my favorite Bible verse is, but let's talk about what your favorite Bible verse is after that.
I love it. Yeah, you go first. I'll pull up mine.
Okay. My favorite verse is, God will not be mocked. Every man will reap what he sows. That's one of my favorite verses. Very good one.
That's very good. That honestly, that is always, I mean, it's not always, but it was in the back of my mind when launching this, when it's like, you know, is this blasphemous? Is this sacrilegious? Praying about it, like talking with my wife, really digging into like scripture to say, like, are we doing anything that is anti the Bible? And obviously it's like,
kind of actions speak louder than words. And it's like, I think through this time, we've proven that it's like, we're in this to spread the name of Jesus. Like, that's why this coin exists. Let's just get Jesus trending on Twitter. Let's have people hear about it on Twitter Spaces live, like all of that. So that's a great verse. Fantastic.
It's one of my favorite verses, honestly, you know, because it's like, it really does bring accountability to yourself, but it also brings accountability to other people as well, where it's like, you know, if I'm doing wrong, you know, I'll reap that. I'll reap whatever that is, you know, and if you're doing wrong, you're going to reap whatever you're doing, you know, whatever. I've always like that because it's fair justice. You know, I'm not saying at all that I'm a perfect person. I'm, you know, to be honest, a lot of people think I'm a mean guy, but like, I'm a mean guy that's pretty real, you know, like I'll always tell you exactly how I feel, or, you know, I'll tell you if I'm wrong or whatever the case. If I mess up, I mess up, or, you know, because the only reason why I'm like that is not only, you know, because I'm under God, but because I want people to love me for me. You know, I always make sure that, you know, you're not in love with some sort of facade. You know, I've run into a variety of different influencers that put on a face, you know, or put on some sort of mask about, you know, who they are. And like, there's, you know, I've run into a lot of like super Christian, like, or, you know, whatever types of goodwill doers, you know, and, you know, they have all these like blow ups, you know, eventually on social media, and they have to explain themselves, and it's just like, no, you already knew I was a piece of shit. What are you guys looking at me? You know, I told you that I was wrong. You know, or like, you know, hey, if I hear that they're going to be doing this, I'm out the back door. And I'm on my way to Dubai. Okay. Like, I already told you, you know?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, apparently a lot of people don't like that about me, you know, but again, look, I'm an open book at least.
I think like authenticity is one of my biggest character traits that I look for in someone. Because it's like, we don't have time for that. Like, we did the whole Instagram filter, fake life thing like 15 years ago. Culture as a society is kind of shifting for the better, in my opinion, because I mean, even if you look like at the new generation, like Gen Z, the one Gen Alpha or something, they're not doing filters. It's like random, you know, they'll do like 10 photos of like a trash can, some blurry, and like that to me is refreshing to see, like, okay, maybe we're moving in the right direction. But authenticity, it's like, what are you doing? And I think in the Bible talks about like, he would rather you be on fire or cold, like that lukewarm middle where it's like kind of a facade. I'm doing this like publicly, but privately I'm not doing this. Like, he would literally rather you be fully cold, because then the authenticity behind it is there, and that you're aware of what you're doing. And so that is a hard thing for a lot of people to do, because there's like insecurity that that comes up.
We have, what's sad about social media is, like, you know, people get obsessed with numbers, and they try to pander to 100% of those numbers.
Yes.
And, I think that's the biggest issue there, you know, and it's just like, you know, for me, I rather just like, you know, I try to call out to people. It's like, hey, remember, you know, MYC is its own content, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very different, you know, it's very polarizing, but it's like, you know what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our content, and this type of content is going to pull a particular type of audience, you know, like directly. And let's say whatever content that I have that doesn't match up with a particular audience, it's going to shoo them away like fast, right? Because it's going to be, again, like you say, it's going to be hot or cold. It's going to be like, you're either going to really love MYC or you're going to really hate MYC. You know, but at least you know what side of the fence you're on. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
People that do play that lukewarm game where, oh, well, I'm like this, or I'm like this, like, you know. Now, for me, it's like, no, this is right here. This is what you're getting right here.
Yeah.
See that? All right. You know,
well, it's like comedians back in the day. Like, they used to be very polarizing, and then there was this shift of like, oh, don't offend anyone, and it's like, that's not even comedy anymore. Like, we have to have these extremes. That's what makes comedy funny, is because it's an extreme commentary on a certain situation. So the middle ground ain't about it. Obviously, on a peace and love level, I am, but on a on a content level, obviously.
I mean, you're definitely on the hot side for sure. But you know, it's totally more universal. Okay.
Yes.
I just feel like
yes.
Maker's just a way better person than me when it comes to universality, you know, type of
No,
thing.
it's yin and yang. I have things and you have things. That's it.
So what did you say what your favorite verse is?
Yes,
Or?
I pulled it up. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
1 Timothy 6:18-19. Command them to do good and be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. This was basically the entire foundation of the project. As we were like evolving out of this, like, hey, let's launch a meme coin and not rug people, into like, what will this be about? There was a
for this too, right?
What's up?
You have a good slogan for this with the coin.
Yeah, do good, give more.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Do good, give more. I like
That's
that.
from this. That's literally like kind of paraphrasing this verse. That's what that was. Yeah, my whole thing was like, I grew up with my family was low middle class. Like, my dad was in the army, but in terms of money and like financial education, I never got that. So for me, it was like money was always burning a hole in my pocket. And like, what can I buy? Like cool toys for myself. And that kind of led me to like, you know, I'm in debt coming out of college with like credit card debt. And it's like, I'm in LA and I'm a struggling artist trying to make it as a model and as an actor. And I'm like not financially stewarding anything well. Like,
you're trying to be a model, like for Calvin Klein.
Yeah, I worked full time as a model out of college for a year. And then you can look me up on American Eagle if you want to. I mean, I'm going to be doxxed anyways at this.
I could totally see you on American Eagle. Totally.
Yes.
Everything.
I'm already aware, like, I was trying to keep this whole thing like, obviously, like, Maker Lee is not my real name. So it's like, I was trying to keep this thing separate for a while. And then I'm like, it's going to come out eventually. So I'm just leaning into the fact that it's going to come out. And so actually, I'm releasing a single as Maker Lee, like an artist, like a song, on Sunday. So it's like, I'm literally like, eventually it's all going to come out in my real, whatever.
Do you play or you sing or what?
What's up?
Do you play and sing or?
Yes, sing. Drums is my main instrument, but I sing, play piano, guitar, all the stuff.
So for your album that's coming up, what is it going to be?
Yeah, it's like indie alternative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did a romance sort of guy or adventure, or like, are we talking about like Hills on the Prairie sort of thing, or what are we doing?
Like with the music?
Yeah.
No, just vibey, just like good vibes, like driving. You know what I mean? Driving music, lights are dim.
A little bit hippie style, or?
Sure. Yeah. It's not folk. It's not like beach rock, and it's not folk, but it's like.
I want you to look forward to hearing this. This is gonna be.
Yes. Great. I know. I'll share it.
Awesome.
So I was doing that, and then I moved out to LA to pursue that like full time after college, and was just like not good with money, not good with my time, procrastinator, habitual liar, like all of these things. And God really worked on my heart to just like get rid of the noise and the lies, thinking that I couldn't handle money well. Where it's like, what do you mean? It's a skill. Just learn the skill and you can do it. And it's a biblical skill. Like the parable of the talents literally talks about handling finances and resources well. So this verse has fully changed the trajectory of my life in terms of like, now we're called to do something. Like we're literally called to do something. Like life is not about us. It's called to help people. Because we're supposed to be generous and willing to share. So it's like, how can I help other people if I'm not helping them, if it's all about me? And I'm like, I said this I did another AMA yesterday. And it's like, I'm all about Lambos. If you want to buy a Lambo and a Rolex, freaking go for it. I don't care. I think they're cool. But I also know that like that needs to be coupled with this generous spirit where it's like, buy a Lambo. Awesome. Also give, you know what I mean? Like buy a Rolex. Also give. So that is something that I'm super passionate about. And I know that like, as things continue to kind of.
So there you have it, Maker. After he gets his Lambo, he's going to be feeding the poor.
Yes, exactly. No, you want to hear my thing, actually? So I have a supercar. There's a supercar that I want. It's the Ford GT, the 2006, the white one with the blue stripe. It is.
I can see that.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's like $250,000. And so I'm like, okay, this is how I can justify it.
I'm going to buy the car for 250 grand and I'm going to give away 250 grand. Therefore, this car cost me 500 grand. And so then I have to be I need to be in a doubly better financial position in order to afford this car. And then I'll buy it. That's my plan.
Perfect. No, I can totally see it. I've been asked this question, I don't know how many times. So, I have bought a variety of different Rolexes, stuff like that, and now I've gotten into just making jewelry, which is pretty fun. But whenever somebody asks me about supercars, I'm like, Dion, what kind of Lambo or what kind of Lambo do you have? Or, what kind of sports car, and I've always been a Lexus person. I like Lexus. Okay. Yeah, I'm very chill, and I actually really hate driving, to be honest with you. I hate driving with a passion.
More of a chauffeur kind of guy. You got
the I'll be really honest. The day where I get to this point where I'm like, I could afford to buy like X amount of supercars and not care, sort of type of wealth, I guess.
Yes.
Whatever that area of wealth is, I'm not there yet. I guess I'm too greedy still. But whatever area that is, I am never going to drive again. You heard it here first. Will never.
Yes.
I will literally rather spend 40 or 50 grand a year to have somebody else drive me.
Literally, like a cool old British guy who gives you advice and just drives you around.
See, a lot of people see me as this party animal, but I can be, but I'm actually very lazy. I'm very I don't like really doing that much work of anything. I don't like driving. I'd rather things to be like, it's like when I get a resort or I go to a hotel or something like that, I always get like the nicest place, but I better have like top notch, like room service. And it better be 24/7 type shit. It better have like the nicest whatever. Because when I come home drunk at like 2, 3 a.m. or whatever, that shit better be ready for me to order. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
So your testimony was like this verse actually meant something to you, so this is kind of what brought kind of something that spoke to you. What was your first introduction to Jesus?
So I was raised in a very conservative Christian home. My parents were Christians. They were Presbyterians. So that was like very conservative, like hymns. I was an acolyte with like the candle and the robes. Very old school, borderline Catholic. I mean, it's not Catholic, it's Presbyterian, but very the liturgy and stuff, all that, whatever. I'm obviously not into that now, so I forgot all of the names. But that was my upbringing, and there was definitely a struggle of my faith versus my parents' faith, and really like taking it on as like, do I believe in God, or do I believe in God because my parents believe in God?
I was just talking to my friend about this. Sometimes it's better to find God yourself than it is to be born into it, because you do that psychological thought process. But if you get the right answer up front, why not?
Yeah, exactly. And that was just that was basically my life, where it was like, yeah, sure, I'm a Christian and I'll go to church if it's convenient or if my parents make me. But it was never this like, I love Jesus, like he's my best friend. Kind of a relationship. And it wasn't until I got rebaptized. So I was baptized as a 5-year-old, and I got rebaptized at 25 in LA. And that was when my faith took a new turn in terms of like hearing from God, seeking him, incorporating him in everything that I do with life, relationships, business, etc. I was struggling with depression really hardcore in LA specifically, mainly based on me like not doing well, where it's like I came out here to act and model and it's going to be amazing, and then I just was sucking. And so that was just something that I was struggling with really hardcore. And then that just broke like immediately, and it's like, wow, Jesus did that. Like Jesus took that away and opened me up to a life of freedom. And now the things that I used to struggle with no longer have the hold over me. Obviously, it's like, you always get attacked by moments. You always have things that like cause you to like, are we still, what's happening? But knowing that my foundation is now on him, and it's like every aspect of my life has to be focused on Jesus, where it's like, what am I going to do? A random meme coin about like some socks? It's like called sock coin. No, how am I going to put my all into everything like that? And so with this being in crypto, it made sense that Jesus coin, like that's what it has to be. And it's like,
You know, you're not a Brazilian with tattoos on your face.
exact man. And what's so funny that because CT is so like degen and like ADD attention span, nobody remembers that. There was just a random rug right before that happened, and that was the rug.
See, you know, look, I'm not a tourist, man. I'm here.
Yeah, I know. I love it. That's the yeah,
with,
crypto's wild. Like you can't explain anything to anyone about
when Baker
crypto.
launched this coin, there was a previous rug that happened. I don't know if it was it a Jesus coin too or no?
No, he was. I don't even know what it was, but he got arrested or something. I think like there was like a hit squad or something. Like people went to go get him.
Yeah. So there was some sort of rug that happened. I don't know if he was in Brazil or not, or I don't know what. But this particular guy had tattoos on his face or whatever, and when Maker was you know, renouncing the contract and having a fair launch and doing everything right, he was like, hey, you know, this is not this type of token, you know, this is a good token. We fair launched it. We have no allocation. We did this. We did that. I'm not that guy in Brazil with tattoos on his face. I'll never forget that. He's like four.
Yes.
Four, like CZ thing.
Yes.
You know, man, that shit killed me. I was like, I'm totally in.
That was good. Yeah.
Oh man. You know, there's so many different stories within crypto Twitter, not only crypto Twitter, but any, you know, in crypto in general. But I am very happy to be completely enslaved to this sector in such a way that I know every horrible story.
Yep.
It is funny. But I am very happy that we've been a part, or, you know, we've witnessed a lot of success stories like yourself and Jesus Coin. Because even regardless of where it was at, even when it sat at the bottom of wherever it was, whether it was that after the first cycle or after the second, or, you know, whatever the case in the future, the project in my eyes is a success because it did build a strong community of believers, a strong community of holders, and it does recall believers, and that's a big thing. I think that's probably what keeps this coin alive because again, like, crypto is about people. I would say people as opportunists, right? But people that are opportunists are not going to typically go back to the last opportunity they had. Right. They typically move on to something new. Jesus happens to be a coin that I've returned to for the third crusade, the third time, and I'll probably be back for even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, it really does touch my heart, and, you know, I'm a believer in God myself, you know. This is Lord in my life. Now, that doesn't mean I'm perfect, guys, okay? So if you guys are out there that are any sort of way thinking that I'm trying to paint this nice person, trust me, I don't like you either. So, you know, I just do believe in God, and, you know, I believe he died for all our sins. Made a tremendous impact on my life and my family and my friends, a lot of different people that I've blessed through my own blessings. And I want to continue to do those things for the betterment of not only the Jesus community, but for all of our communities, regardless of where you're from. So, you know, let's just keep doing that. Anything else before we let you go? I don't want to run this one too long.
I had a thought, and then my coffee wore off. Let me see if I can remember it. No, I can't remember it. So, no, but I'm going to come up with something. You ready? Here we go. My final thoughts are this. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for, I don't know, I think you lead your community well. And I think that is a very strong trait that you have. And I think in general, like you said, you're polarizing, but there is a position of leadership that you've been put into. And I think that God's going to use you to like continually in this space, not just this crusade, but the next one and the one to come. And I think God knows the responsibility that you have, and he has given that to you for a reason. And you're going to kill it and keep killing it. I don't know.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot, especially coming from you. You know I'm one of the most problematic sappy seals within the community.
I love it.
It means a lot coming from someone so universal. So, But, guys, thank you for coming on this live stream. Jesus coin is available both on Solana and ETH. ETH right now has a tremendously larger liquidity pool than Sol. Solana is definitely an opportunity for any LP providers if you want to see that as an opportunity.
And arbitrage traders, you can bridge back and forth because the pools.
All right, so there you go. You could also do that. I have heard certain rumors about different exchanges at some point in the future, including some of the biggest tier 1 exchanges like crypto.com. We'll see how that comes into fruition. We've heard a variety of different things. We've seen a variety of different community leaders and networks come together for the Jesus community under God and with Jesus Christ. So as at first glance, as people think the coin may be, I have seen tremendous miracles in this coin. The ratio is pretty safe. It has an 80% liquidity pool for the 20% of that circulation, which transcend to the holders. So I have seen stability in it. I've seen scalability twice, and we're going to run this a third time with the third crusade. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, guys. I will make sure I leave all the links to the DEX tools below. I won't leave anything about ODAP or anything like that. This one's strictly and only for Jesus community. All right. So shout out to you guys. And then also thank you guys for welcoming us back, MYC. As much as some of you guys are on the other side of the polarization scale. I know a lot of you guys are better Christians than us, but I do want to say that we're trying to work our way, on the other side to get just as good as you guys, I promise, So, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.